Hey guys, welcome to your algebra lesson really quick today. First of all, you should have taken notes on both 4.1 and 4.2, and then you should have picked up these additional examples, example 4.1, and then this one, example 4.2, and yours are going to be on pink paper. So we're going to start with 4.1. I'm going to go through the examples with you to give you a couple additional examples in class today. So the first one says 4% of what number is 76? So if we're looking for 4% of a number, what we're going to do is we're going to take 4% of a number, and that's going to equal 76. My pen is kind of not working here today. So 4% of what number equals 76? And really this is just an algebraic expression. So we're going to divide by 4% on both sides. And we end up with x. And now we have to figure out how to write this into the calculator. The 76 divided by 4%, 4% is really just a decimal in disguise as 0.04. And that hopefully was a review from things in your last class, is the percent out of 100. So if you do 76 divided by 4% and you punch that into your calculator, you should get 1900. And you can always check your answer by just going back and putting x in, so 4% of 1900, and you should be able to get the 76. Okay, so let's go to the next example. Let me erase this stuff here. Our next example says that we have what percent of 210 is 33.6. So again, I'm just going to write this out. So what percent, so I'm looking for a percent, x percent of means multiplication of 210. So I'm multiplying by 210 is 33.6. So is 33.6. Okay, so for this problem, again, since I'm multiplying on my left-hand side, all I need to do is divide to make it a 1% x, so divided by 210. And when I take 33.6 and I divide it by 210, I get x percent equals, what does it equal here? 0.16. So now it's asking for what percent, and right now I've got an x percent is equaling this decimal. So what I need to do is convert it into a decimal. I need to convert this answer right here into a decimal. So, or excuse me, convert the decimal into a percent. So to do that, I'm just going to multiply by 100 to get my percent. So x is going to equal 16%. All right, so let's try another one of these here. Let me erase again. And the next question is a word problem, and I'll let you read that word problem really quick. Hopefully you can get that done. Chauncey wants to buy a pair of jeans costing $44.50. He knows he will be charged 4.5 sales per tax on the jeans. Find the total cost of the jeans, including the sales tax. So for this one, if we switch back to my pen here, I have the total cost plus the sales tax, we'll call that ST, is going to be the final price. Now that's kind of a ridiculous expression, but we're just going to plug in our numbers. So the total price of my jeans was $44.50. Now I need to figure out my sales tax. So sales tax, what that is, we don't have that in Minnesota on clothing, but what you do is you take the percent of the sales tax and you multiply that. You take a percent of what the total jeans cost. So for this one, you're going to take 4.5% of the actual cost of the jeans, which was $44.50. So when we do that, we can get the final price that you're going to be charged for the jeans. So for this, again, I need to convert this percent right here into a decimal. So it's going to be 0. So I divide that by 100, and I get 0.045. And I multiply that by 44.50. So 4.5% of $44.50. And I'm going to use my calculator to do that. 4.045. And I get $2, and then it's like 25 10,000ths of a penny. So I'm just going to round that to $2 because in your stores, when you guys go shopping, you don't necessarily have all those tenths of a penny and all that stuff. So now I've got my total price of my shirt plus my $2 that I'm spending on my sales tax is going to be my total. So my total is going to be $46.50 for the price of my jeans. So sales tax is added on. You're adding that on. All right, now let's take a look at number 4. Number 4, we have a sale, which is always exciting, and we have a 20% off of a bicycle. Sweet. I love biking. It's one of my favorites. Get all this gone here. Okay, so we're going back to the bicycle costs $425. So we're going to take the total cost of the bicycle, and it's on sale for 20% off. So we need to take off the percent. So we're going to take it off, which is a subtract. We're taking off that percent, and that's going to be our final price. Okay, so our total of our bicycle is $425. And again, we need to take off this percent. Well, it's 20% off of the $420. So we're going to take the 20% off of that. So it's going to be $425, and we have 20% off, so it's going to be times 20. And it's going to equal our final cost. All right, so now we need 20% of the $425. $425 times the 0.2, which is $85. So 425 minus the 85 is going to equal the final cost. And if we subtract that from 425, we get $340. Now there's a second way to do this that is actually, I think, a little bit easier to do. It just involves a little bit of thinking about what you're actually doing to make it work. So let me go back to this eraser. It seemed to be a little bit better. So for this one, it's kind of a sweet deal because you're taking 20% off of the price. So if we're taking 20% off of the whole percent of the entire percent, the 100% of the cost, that means that we're only paying 80% of what we have. So it's 20% off, so that means we're actually paying 80% of the cost, 80% total. So what we can do is take the $425 and multiply that by 80% because we're taking 80% of that. So I'm just going to convert that to a decimal right there, and it's going to be 425 times 0.8, and we should arrive at the same answer of $340, which is, you know, a little bit easier to do. So we're going to switch over to 4.2 now, and 4.2 is going to actually be on a second video. So if you look for the 4.2 additional examples, that will work. All right, good luck on your homework there.